Thank you. Now, for the four-way test, I'd like to call to the podium PE Boyet Vera to deliver the four-way test.
Recording in progress.
The four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Please repeat after me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, PE Boyet. And the answer is yes. Okay. So at this point, I'd like to recognize our, you can have a seat. Yeah. At this point, I'd like to recognize our dignitaries, visiting aunts and guests tonight. So for the dignitaries, I'd like to recognize PDG Tony Kila and PDG Pep Singson. Right? For visiting aunts, we have first aunt Rachel Harrison. Hi, Rachel. And then Kaling Yang and Chinit Rufino. Oh, nice to see you, Chinit. And we have our special guest for the evening. We have Billy Del Rosario, an incoming member of the club. Billy. Jay Resterio, the guest of Neil. Neil Makashar. Hello, Jay. Mrs. Isabel Singson, the wife of our speaker, Babe Singson. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. We have Roy Tulio, a prospective member of RCM Premier District. RCM Premier District. Roy. And then President Tess de Guzman of Peace Makati Ayala Triangle. Hello. And of course, PP Doris and Somo, RC Makati San Antonio. Okay, our welcome song. Who is going to sing?
Friends of Rotary, we greet you.
Oh, friends of Rotary, we greet you. We want you to feel that our friendship is real. We are glad you're here today. So take back home a bit of cheers. Regards from all the fellows here. And when once more you are near our door, come again, our friends, come again.
Ole! Welcome to our guests.
Welcome, everyone. I'd like to recognize greet the birthday celebrators and wedding anniversary celebrators from the Rotary Club of Makati. For this month, we have birthday celebrators Ed Rojas on the 26th of November, Justin Tambunting on December 3rd. And for the aunts, we have Melanie Lagi at 27th of November, Diane Mempin, 28th of November, and Lulim Hoko on the 29th of November. For wedding anniversaries, I'd like to recognize and greet Nico and Paulo Dairit and Rex and Melanie Lagi. Happy wedding anniversary. That's on the 29th and the 30th of November. Okay, next we have oh, okay. So sorry, I missed somebody to acknowledge, no? We've got past President Edu Singson from RCM Central. And of course, Raisa Hechanova. Raisa, thank you. Thank you for helping us out with this whole facility. Thank you. Next, we have announcements of. No, we have a song. We have our celebrator song, wedding. Andy, you need to sing the birthday and celebrator song.
Andy.
Kaming dalawa ni David. Lyrics. Meron. Meron.
Ako na doon.
Acapella ulit.
I'm only doing this because Sec Babes is here. Game.
1.
Meron yan. Acapella ba? Wala. Gov Peps, I got more than what I bargained for. Halika, you wanna join us?
Kasubuan.
Okay. 1,
One,
2, 3.
Here is your birthday and wedding day. Let's celebrate this important day. We greet you deep in our hearts still. A happy birthday and happy wedding day.
Well done, well done. Thank you, guys. Okay, next, do we have any announcement for club functions and or committee announcements, please, from the club? Anybody from the club want to announce a club function? Wala si Tony Lopez. Oh, okay. Anyway. Eddie, you want to talk about our concert again?
Well, we had a meeting, just to update all of you. We just had a meeting this evening about the Christmas concert, and we're doing very well. We have only some, the 3,500 tickets to sell, and then a few of the 5,000 tickets, the last row, half of the last row. So, this is going to be a fabulous Christmas concert. It will consist of traditional Christmas carols and hymns that you rarely hear about, plus some Filipino popular carols, culminating in the Hallelujah chorus from Handel's Messiah. So, gentlemen, for those of you who have not yet gotten your ticket, please call the secretariat and book your ticket now. Thank you.
Thank you, PP Eddie. Now I'd like to call to the podium PDG Tony Kila to introduce our newest member, club.
One quick announcement. Which day? Is it on the screen though? Which day? The 30th? Which is Sunday or Saturday? I can't. Saturday at 7 o'clock. There is a district shoot out, and everybody who likes to shoot, not golf but shoot guns, is cordially invited. There it is, and it's too quick. I was going to read it, but anyway, if you could just go back. No. Anyway,
So, Kit, you're going to shoot?
I'm not going to shoot, no. I like to play golf instead. I don't
Can you
approve
hit
of
something
guns.
when you shoot?
Okay, so the anybody who's interested there, please speak to President Tess de Guzman of of Makati Ayala Triangle, and she will give you all of the information. Otherwise, you can also speak to Ron and our secretariat, who will also help you, and you can also speak to Eric, and you can speak to me, but I don't know so much about it. Okay, thank you.
All right, Kit. Good. I would like to call for induction our 8th new member for this Rotary year. None other than Robert Billy Del Rosario. Could you come up here? His classification is shopping mall operations. He's president of Fisher Mall, Fisher Supermarket, and Fisher Department Store. That he is sponsored by Rotarian Rante Aguila. Can I ask Rante to come here as well? And then, as a charging officer, can I call on past President David Ackerman?
Mask off.
Yes, sir.
Just for the oath taking. So, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the Rotary Club of Makati, Secretary Babes, Rotarians, guests, and our newest brother, Billy Del Rosario. Special mention to Rante Aguila, great sponsor. What a privilege it is to stand before you today as we welcome Billy into our distinguished fold. As the president owner of Fisher Mall and Department Store, Billy is no stranger to the hustle and bustle of leadership. But today, our dear Billy, you are about to embark on a different kind of adventure, one that requires not only your business acumen, but also your heart and soul. Now, let's be clear. Joining the Rotary Club of Makati isn't just about adding another line to your impressive resume. No, my friend. This is about commitment, camaraderie, and a dash of good-natured mischief. We are the most premium Rotary Club in Asia, and we take that title seriously. So we are not just members, we are a family. Take note. A family that expects you to treasure this club as much as we do. As you step into this new role, Billy, I have a few friendly reminders. First and foremost, make it a point to get to know all of us, not just the few who share your taste in the fine dining or your love of retail. Our club is a treasure trove of wisdom, experience, and yes, even a few tall tales that will make your boardroom meetings seem like, a walk in a park. So mingle, engage, and soak it all in. Next, I urge you to be active in our club committees. This is where the magic really happens, Billy. Your insights from the retail world can bring fresh perspectives to our projects. And remember, just like in business, participation is always key. We cannot have you sitting on the sidelines, Billy. This isn't just a spectator sport. And speaking of participation, let's talk about dues. Yes, those little reminders that pop up like unsolicited emails. Pay them on time and you'll find out that your membership is not just a privilege, but a ticket to the incredible work that we all do. It is a very small price to pay for the impact we create together. Now I know you're a busy man, but I must emphasize, spread the word of Rotary. Share our mission, our values, and our successes. You never know when you might encounter someone who would add great value to our exclusive club. So keep your eyes peeled for like-minded individuals who share our passion for service above self. And lastly, most importantly, please be present. Attend our meetings, Billy. Engage in discussions and bring your unique perspective to the table. Your presence matters not just to you, but to all of us. We want to hear your voice. Share your ideas and yes, even enjoy a few laughs along the way. Maybe some battles of Macallan to down. So Billy Del Rosario, welcome to the Rotary Club of Makati. May your journey with us be filled with inspiration, friendship, and a commitment to making a difference. Let us roll up our sleeves and get to work. After all, this world is not going to change itself. Thank you so much, President Keith. I hope he's ready to be inducted after that charging.
Completely ready, I would think. Okay, Billy.
Yes, sir.
Right, please raise your right hand and may I ask also the Rotarians in the room to please stand up to add solemnity to the occasion. So you need to repeat after me. I, state your name, sorry.
I, Robert Raymond, Billy Del Rosario,
After being sworn in
after being sworn in
as a member of the Rotary Club of Makati,
as a member of the Rotary Club of Makati,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will abide by,
that I will abide by,
follow and uphold
follow, and uphold
all the provisions of the Constitution and bylaws of Rotary International,
all the provisions in the Constitution of Rotary International,
as well as those of my Rotary Club,
as well as those of my Rotary Club,
and fulfill to the best of my ability
and fulfill to the best of my ability
all the duties and responsibilities of my membership.
all the duties and responsibilities of my membership.
I pledge to advance the object of Rotary
I pledge to advance the object of Rotary
and to exemplify Rotary's maxim,
and to exemplify Rotary's maxim,
service above self.
service above self.
I further swear to promote the awareness
I further swear to promote the awareness
of the theme of Rotary International 2024-25,
of the theme of Rotary International 24-25,
the magic of Rotary,
the magic of Rotary,
and of the duties and responsibilities that go with it.
and the duties and responsibilities that go with it.
All these I pledge
All these I pledge,
freely and voluntarily,
freely and voluntarily,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
without any mental reservation or purpose of reservation.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Gentlemen,
Okay, so now you...
This is tradition.
Di ba magsa-sign muna sa vlog?
Okay. Okay, welcome to the club, Billy. We look forward to seeing you at our meetings. Okay, now to move on to the next part of our program, I'd like to invite to the podium one of our newest members, Dedrix Lau, for a classification talk. Where is Dedrix? There you go, Dedrix. Come on.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So, did everyone enjoy the dinner? Good evening. So, I'm Dendrix. I'm here to give a classification talk. So, to give you a brief background of myself and my family, we're actually a family of entrepreneurs. So, I'm married with one daughter, and my hobbies are playing table tennis, badminton, and started pickleball. So anyone here plays pickleball? Yeah, we know when we're getting older, the ball gets smaller. Dati basketball, tapos tennis, tapos golf. So, for my professional life, I work in a typical Chinese family. I work in a family business. So we are a family of food distributors. No? So I work under my dad. But of course, I want to make a name for myself. So I'm also an architect. No? So I'm an architect, licensed architect since 2014. So during the course of my professional life, ito lang natutunan ko, no? It's never too late to learn something. As we grow older, actually I realized I know a little bit. No? So when knowing, accepting oneself na you know a little, we have to be open to learn new things every day. So, so during this, I'm actually to be a Rotary. No, I'm actually very proud of what I did way back in pandemic. No, this is how I think I can help Rotary, no, in contributing um, my being an architect, to provide the Rotary's mission and initiatives, by providing my assistance to architectural planning and construction. So I want to share something, no, what I did way back in the pandemic. So you guys remember, diba, during the March of 2020, everybody's in a chaos. No? So we don't know if when are we going to get tested. The government is chaotic. So I asked one of my friends in the US on how we can. I think the testing is the most important thing. Eh. If we don't do the testing, how will we know? So we during the height of the pandemic, there's no testing whatever available. So this is, I think, which I'm very proud of. I gathered the scientists and all the top-notch chemists in the US. So we created this team. So after that, we created the biosafety level 3 testing for COVID. No? So I'm really proud to say that we're able to create that facility. It's a pop-up testing facility that tests 3,000 tests a day during the height of the pandemic. So there's two testing labs that we created, one in Camp Crame and one in UP Los Baños. So we're proud to say that it's done its job. No? We're able to test around 6,000 people every day during COVID. Okay, so I think that's, as an architect, that's what I can feel I can contribute to Rotary, giving this fresh ideas and fresh insights on how we can solve the everyday problems in our society. Thank you.
Oh, very well done, David. Thank you. Okay, now I'd like to call on the presidents of our two clubs for president's time. We'll start with President Keith and then with President Eric.
Good evening, everybody. So as we bring the month of November to a close, this meeting marks the last session with a guest speaker before we shift gears and move into the Christmas season with festivities and important milestones. December is packed with exciting events, such as our much-awaited magical Christmas party on the 4th of December, the District 3830 and 25th anniversary party on the 5th of December, and our annual general meeting on the 10th of December, followed in the evening on the 10th of December by the classical Christmas concert, which will be held on the on the level 5 of the Rockwell Power Plant. On the 10th, not on the 5th, if you see what I mean. This evening we have the honor of welcoming former Secretary Babe Singson. Thank you very much for coming here, sir. Recently recognized as the Management Person of the Year in 2024 by the Management Association of the Philippines. Secretary Singson will speak on the crucial topic of good governance measures to address water crises, as well as others, a matter close to the heart of many Rotarians, with our water and sanitation and hygiene projects being one of the 7 areas of focus. We're grateful to our daughter club, RC Makati Premier District, for joining us and inviting Secretary Singson this evening to be out to have this joint meeting. So thank you very much, President Eric, for being here. I was with Eric last night, and so it's very nice to see him again. I was also with these 2 ladies over here, President Tess and President Dovey. So, last week we had the privilege of co-hosting the District 3830 Rolling Recognition Service projects in this room here, and it was a proud moment for our club. We had a number of awards, which I believe are displayed perhaps on the outside as you walk in or walk out, if you didn't see them on the way in. We received special recognition for our PGH surgical mission, which had its second session on Saturday, but I think that they picked it up from the first visit earlier in the year. Acknowledgement also for our supplementary feeding program, which launched its 5th module last Friday, now benefiting 275 kids. We also received the Magical Plus 5 Award, which is to record the number of new members that we've had to our club, but now we're up to 8, so we could be plus 7, but there wasn't such an award, there was just plus 5. These accolades inspire us to keep striving for the excellence in our service projects and membership growth, and embodying the spirit of Rotary with every initiative that we have. Thank you particularly to DGE Reggie, Director Boyateche, PGG Peps Bengzon, Director Paolo Turno, PP Louis Asioche, and PP before your time, PE Eddie Galvez, for being there last week. Thank you for your support. Okay, so the holiday spirit is already alive and well through our Last Angels gift-giving project. This began on Thursday. We're going to have a small video in a moment. So that has been started, and through the course of the next few days, we're going to be having a number. So in Pasay, we shared gifts with 60 kids. Particularly, we started off with the special needs kids. And that brightened their day and gave them some Christmas cheer. Now, please allow me to share the video.
In response to Rotary District 3830's call to prioritize maternal and child care this year, RC Makati proudly continues its long-standing commitment to child nutrition through the Supplemental Feeding Program, an initiative sustained for nearly 2 decades. On November 22, 2024, a RC Makati team led by President Keith Harrison traveled to Pasay for the launch of another module of the Complementary Nutrition Program at P. Villanueva Elementary School. The program began with an overview of the feeding initiative, presented by Ms. Winike. Key leaders, including past President Freddy, President Keith, Director Neil, Director Boy, Director Rodrigo, and immediate past President Bing, shared heartfelt messages, emphasizing the shared mission to combat malnutrition and improve children's lives. During the event, a memorandum of agreement was signed, solidifying the partnership between RC Makati, Kabisig ng Kalahi, and the Pasay Department of Education. The highlight of the day was a warm and nutritious meal of munggo paired with a glass of milk, shared with 60 undernourished children aged 6 to 12. This daily supplement, provided over 120 feeding days, aims to enrich their diet and improve their overall health. Adding to the joy, children received toys through RC Makati's Last Angel project, filling the room with laughter and gratitude. As participants in the feeding program, these young beneficiaries also joined the club's annual gift-giving tradition, bringing smiles that brighten the holiday season. This fifth module of RC Makati's nutrition program is another milestone in the club's mission to champion child nutrition, delivering not only sustenance but also hope and happiness to the communities it serves. With 275 children reached this Rotary year, the impact of this initiative continues to grow.
I extend my heartfelt congratulations to IPP Bing and the ANS for their leadership and dedication, resulting in a record-breaking 1.1 million pesos of donations to raise to buy presents for this program. We are going to now be able to give presents to over 3,000 kids in our Last Angels program. And I encourage every member and every participant who contributed or just wants to see it, please come along. Giving presents to these kids is the most wonderful gift you'll ever get back, because you give that and you get a smile as big as you can ever imagine back. So please come along. There are a lot of them because we can't do 3,000 in one go, so you're going to be able to come along for weeks. Hopefully we'll get them all done before Christmas. Beyond that one, we have a special relief mission to deal with the priorities which were brought about because of Super Typhoon Pepito. Now we have our own Super Typhoon Pepito in our club, but this one gave a lot of problem, and so it was quite difficult with the other programs ongoing. So Cosron traveled to Virac in Catanduanes. I don't know how good that is. I get it? I get it? Okay, all right. Distributing relief goods to over 750 families in Pandan. This mission, in partnership with RC Virac, underscores our commitment to providing swift and meaningful assistance to those in need. We remain in close coordination with RC Tagigarao and RC Kawayan as families in those areas of Isabela continue to recover from the devastation that the typhoon caused further up the coast or further inland. Our support will persist as we work to help these communities rebuild. The holiday rush is fast approaching. Oh dear, there's another page. And, oh yes, and there are a number of activities coming up. And I've mentioned all of these activities, and I now want to test you all. And if you don't pass the test, you'll, oh well, I don't know what I'm going to do to you. But 4th of December, magical Christmas party of the club at the Manila Polo Club. Cocktails start at 6 o'clock. Highly anticipated cluster competition. And if you're in Louis' group, which is I am, Dragonstone, what a dance it's going to be, you know, you'll just be blown away. Okay, 5th of December, there is the District 25th Anniversary and Christmas Party at the Green Lounge in Green Hills, San Juan. And if you're in Hufflepuff, you will again see me, or if you're not in Hufflepuff, you're in the other teams, you will see me dance in Hufflepuff. Probably I will be dancing the steps of the previous day. We have reserved a table for 10 members to join, and it's on a first-come, first-served basis. Please sign up with Ron directly or on the chat group. December the 10th, lunch. Remember it? Annual membership meeting, where we will elect the directors for the next 2 years. Lots of proxy votes have already gone in, I believe, but we must have attendance to make sure that we are quorate, otherwise the secretariat will be after us. December the 10th, evening, classical Christmas concert at the 5th at Rockwell. Tickets, as you heard, are selling fast. Please, if you've not yet got a ticket, please get a ticket for yourself, your family, and of course your friends, because it's a very nice evening out. There'll be a cocktail before starting at 6 o'clock, and if you want to advertise your business, you may also buy an advertisement slot, and you'll get advertisements as well as free tickets. So we look forward to these events. Let's try to remember that the spirit of Rotary lies in fellowship, generosity, and service. Together we can make this holiday season meaningful for our communities and ourselves. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in all the weeks ahead. Thank you.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. I know you're very eager to listen to our guest speaker tonight, Mr. Singson, so I'll just keep this short. I just have two items. The first item is a shameless plug. We're having we're sponsoring a concert this Saturday, November 30. It's a Nutcracker by the Philippine Ballet Theater at the Samsung Performing Arts Theater at the Circuit Makati. The second item is I'd like to hand over a check to Rotary Club of Makati for 325,894 pesos and 1 centavo. This is your share, actually your share in the concert we had earlier this year, which we co-produced and directed by Mr. Eddie Yap. So handing over. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you, President Eric. So next, we have come to the key part of our get-together tonight. I'd like to call to the podium PP Rina Lopez from RCM Premier District to introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you, Philip. PIP Keith Harrison, PIP Eric Quezon, PDG Pepito Bengson, district officers, fellow Rotarians, and esteemed guests. It's my distinct honor to introduce a leader whose career has been a shining example of excellence, integrity, and service to the nation. Secretary Rogelio Babes L. Singson. Babes is currently the President and Chief Executive Officer of Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation, the toll road development and operations arm of Metro Pacific Investments Corporation. Beyond his role at MPTC, he serves as a member of the Board of Directors of Metro Pacific Investments Corporation, Metro Pacific Water, India Philippines, the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation. He also contributes to education as a member of the Board of Trustees of our alma mater, De La Salle University, the Right School. Before joining MPTC, Babes held significant leadership roles, including as President and CEO of Metro Pacific Water, Meralco Power Gen Corporation, and Light Rail Manila Corporation, LRT1. Most notably, from 2010 to 2016, he served as Secretary of the Department of Public Works and Highways. During his 6-year tenure, Babes implemented the Good Governance and Anti-Corruption Program, transforming the DPWH into a model of efficiency and transparency, while overseeing the successful implementation of major infrastructure projects across the country. Earlier in his career, Babes played a pivotal role as President and CEO of Maynilad Water Services, where he led the turnaround of one of Metro Manila's major water concessionaires. He also served as Chairman and President of the Bases Conversion and Development Authority, BCDA, spearheading transformational projects such as the privatization and development of Bonifacio Global City, along with the advancement of SBMA and Clark into major economic hubs. For his exceptional contributions, Babes has received numerous awards, including the Order of Lacandula with the rank of Grand Cross, Bayani, the Outstanding Filipino Award for Government, Public Service, and the Lifetime Distinguished Achievement Award from the UP Alumni Association. He was named the most distinguished alumnus by the UP Alumni Engineers and received the Outstanding Manilan Award for Public Service. Most recently, just yesterday, Babes was conferred the MAP Management Person of the Year 2024 by the Management Association of the Philippines. This prestigious recognition highlights his exemplary leadership, his contribution to good governance, and his unwavering dedication to sustainable and impactful reforms in both the public and private sectors. I have heard only good words about Babes, be it his integrity, his effectivity, and his professionalism. Just yesterday, I had the pleasure of being in Iloilo with former Senator Franklin Drilon, who spoke so highly of Babes and his instrumental role in the progress and development of the region. Beyond his professional life, Babes is a man of deep faith as a covenanted member of the Ang Ligaya ng Panginoon community. On a lighter note, but not too light for him, he is also known for his love of dancing, particularly bachata. Today, he has even leveled up and joined competitions. Oh, good luck, Secretary Babes. This reflects his vibrant personality and ability to balance life with joy and grace. Some of us here, that table there, are even fortunate enough to be his classmates in this passion of his art form. And if any of you are going to the MAP Christmas party, he's bringing, I think, 11? He'll be the 12th DI on that day. Tonight, Babes will share his insights on good governance measures to address the water sector crisis. Given his wealth of experience in both infrastructure development and water resource management, his perspectives will surely provide us with a clearer understanding of this pressing issue and the innovative solutions needed to address it. Before we proceed, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge two special people in our audience. Isabel Singson, the wife of Babes, and Babe's son, life-changing president. Edu Singson, my classmate, whose presence this evening makes this event even more meaningful. Edu's not only a fellow Rotarian, but also my classmate president. And I'm thrilled to welcome both of them here tonight. Now let us give a warm Rotary welcome to our distinguished speaker, Secretary Rogelio Babes Singson, a true leader, reformer, and inspiration to us all.
Thank you so much, and good evening. Thank you to... It's okay. I'd rather have the lights now. I'll just move later when it's time for the slides at the tail end of my presentation. I hope I will not bore those who were there yesterday, but I assure you it's not going to be the same coverage. As I said, thank you, Kit and Eric, for inviting me tonight. Allow me to share briefly the principles in good governance and anti-corruption measures that we adopted to change the culture and public image of DPWH during the full 6-year term of President Benigno Aquino III. I'm one of 3 who completed the term in DPWH, full 6 years. The 5 principles, and this is whether you're in public, private sector, in other jurisdictions, in other societies even, it will be the same principle. So first is the political will. Clear support and direction coming from President Noynoy himself. If you recall his Daang Matuwid policy, straight road, straight path. And he said, no wang-wang, in other words, no entitlements for officials, kayo ang boss ko. And he said, I have to walk the talk. That was a very clear signal for us in the cabinet of Noynoy. Second, transparency. Clear use of government funds and resources for the 3 R's that we incorporated. Right project, right cost, right quality. It's as straightforward as that. Now, which means that we have to make sure that government funds go to the correct projects. So my role then was to make sure that I completed all the national roads and bridges and adopted national road standards. When I got in, you cannot imagine national roads that are gravel. We even had national bridges that were still made of wood. And I said, this cannot be. Regardless of political jurisdictions, whoever was the sitting political kingpin in that area, I was colorblind. I had to do the national roads regardless of color. So some of the Dilawan, if you remember, the yellow politicians were complaining, how come the next jurisdiction or the next beside me, he's an oppositionist. How come he has a bigger budget? He has been an opposition all these times, so he never got any funding from any political in power. I said, I don't care. I am color blind. I have to do my role, which is to complete the national roads using national road standards, which means 60 meters wide with correct culverts, with 2-lane highways, and no more wooden bridges by the time we left. The other thing, when we say right cost, we had to make sure that we conducted competitive public bidding. We're able to save substantial amounts simply because there were no favored contractors. Everybody had to go through a competitive bidding process. And when we say right quality, follow the standards, no shortcuts. Eventually, President Noynoy added 2 other R's. Right on time, tama naman. And finally, by the right people. And here, for me to change the culture of DPWH, we had to retire about 25% of the personnel of DPWH. And I had to replace them with young, qualified civil engineers, 30 years and below, no older than 1 day beyond 30. And we offered them regular plantilla positions in DPWH and offered them a salary of equivalent of $600 so that they stay and have a regular career in DPWH than going overseas as contract personnel. So we're very successful. We're able to hire as much as 1,500 cadet engineers across the nation. Now, number 3 is accountability. Our list of projects and costs and timelines were made available to the public, to the NGOs, concerned communities, and media. All district engineers and regional directors had levels of authority, and they had to be responsible. They also knew my policy in terms of promotions. I did not bring a single person from outside. All available positions were filled from within. They had to go through a selection process without any political backings. In fact, I was very clear. If you submit a political endorsement, the more I will not consider you for promotions. Because how can you refuse a patron? A patron who endorsed you and who got you appointed, how can you refuse his contractor? So I said, if I see an endorsement, sorry ka. I will not even consider you. I was very clear about that. Fourth is the rule of law. We had to follow strictly government bidding procedures and all COA regulations. But we also had to make sure that existing laws made sense. For example, the law on right-of-way was no longer realistic. Before I came in, the government rule on right-of-way was this. You will get paid based on zonal value, and you will get paid on the structure based on depreciated value. How fair can you get? You're owner of a house, wala ka naman pakialam, dadaan ang kalye sa bahay mo, and then you will be paid zonal value and depreciated value. That's so unfair. So we had to amend that and made sure that you are paid based on the replacement cost or market value of the property, and the structure, we'd measure it, wood, made of concrete, and we paid you based on replacement value, so that at least you can buy a property and construct the same structure. That was being fair. So we were able to pass that, and up to today, that's the rule on right-of-way. Fifth change was we created shareholders and citizens' participation. We organized church organizations, media was very important to me, and opinion leaders in the provinces and communities. Because at the end of the day, I told them, kayo ang makikinabang. Tulungan nyo kami. Make sure that the projects are done properly, otherwise you will suffer. So make sure you help us, you monitor the progress of the project, and you monitor. Marunong naman kayo magsukat. Sukatin nyo. 10 inches dapat yan. So, to me, that was very important. Kakampi mo yung media. Because if you encounter a nasty politician, I'll just say, we'll take this up in the media. Aatras na yun. Now, let me segue to how we can use the same principles in addressing our country's water crisis, which I refer to as the continuing cycle of destruction unless we collectively act now. What is the current state of our water management? By NEDA studies itself, there are over 30 government agencies involved in the water sector. The problem is that governance is too fragmented without a coherent program in the use of government funds. To manage our water resources, providing sustainable and clean potable water to all, and having enough water for irrigation during the dry months for farm productivity. Yet, I keep repeating this, we have been blessed with a lot of rainfall. But this same rainfall causes a lot of damage. Realizing this, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. proposed what we had proposed when we left government, the creation of a Department of Water Resources and the adoption of an integrated water resources management program for the country as a policy of government and all of the government agencies involved in the water sector. There's no such thing as an integrated water resources management. Kanya-kanya sila. In brief, again, use government resources and funds for the right project, right cost, and right quality. Completion on time and by the right people. Fortunately, our government GAA, or General Appropriations Act, has huge funding allocations for water projects estimated in the last budget 250 billion pesos. just in DPWH alone. I've not counted the budget of NIA, I've not counted the budget of MWSS, DA, and all the other agencies. Keep that in mind, 250, and I'll explain to you why that number is so significant. What can the private sector do, like all of the leaders here? First, support a coherent program, possibly with the creation of the Department of Water Resources, as the single entity to address our water crisis. Second, push for the adoption of the integrated water resources management principles in the use of government resources, and we need a coherent program like adoption of river basin master plans, and in lieu of spending just for dredging. My goodness, who counts how many hakot they do on dredging? Nobody can count that. So maybe 2-3 shovels there of the backhoe, they'll already claim completion. So my estimate, high of 30% goes to projects, 70% goes to packets. So nobody wants to touch dredging projects. It's all going to packets. I'm sorry to say that, but that's how it is. Pasensya na kayo, I get so passionate about this thing because I feel the pain of the poor and all of those affected. The private sector can definitely participate. And number 3, the private sector can definitely participate in PPP projects like water impounding, bulk water supply, water distribution, treatment. I will explain some of these projects later on. What are some of the projects or interventions needed to address the water crisis, particularly addressing the perennial problem of flooding, which happens every year, and even more intense, as we can see in the last typhoon events? With many of our infrastructures being damaged, our farmlands losing their productivity, and this is why. Floods come in, the topsoil of the farmlands are washed away. The farmers now inject chemical fertilizers to try to restore the productivity. But the next rainfall, all of that chemical fertilizers are washed again into the rivers and down to the fish sanctuaries, which then affects the sources of fisheries production. So this cycle will continue. And it will continue to damage public and private infrastructure. Now, what are some of the proposed solutions? I've categorized them into short, medium, and long term. Some of the short-term solutions address garbage accumulation in vital esteros and waterways. These blocks and causes a lot of flooding. They can provide garbage traps along these waterways, clean up the drainage system regularly, and for LGUs to strictly implement the law on easements. There's such a law. Water easements cannot be resettlement areas. Water easements require easements. So LGUs should not even grant building permits on water easements. But you see them all over, encroaching, being with high structures, and the like. Second, address specific flood-prone areas on main roads with short-term interventions like water impounding or improved drainage capacities. Let me cite some of the projects that we did. If you recall, the Mandaluyong Rotonda, Maisilo Circle, it used to be regularly flooded. We had to construct a major drainage, dig up the Francisco Road that leads to Pasig River, put all of that excess water on top underneath. So now you don't see flooding around Maisilo or the Mandaluyong Capitolio. Of course, we have the EDSA Magallanes flood management. So now Magallanes does not get as bad as flooding as in the past. Nakakahiya naman, tiga Magallanes ako, hindi ko masolve. And one of the major projects is the Blumentritt flood management structure to address the flooding around España and the university and UST area. It is a 3.2 kilometer, 6-meter drainage that we put from Governor Forbes, España, all the way to Sunog Apog in Tondo to bring all of that water that comes from Quezon City flowing down to España. So now, the university belt around UST is no longer flooding, except for UST itself. That's another story. Matigas ang ulo ng rektor na kausap ko. I offered UST to solve their problem, but they refused. So I said, okay, I'll transfer our DPWH budget somewhere else where it is most welcome. Of course, we did a lot of projects in Las Piñas where you now see along the waterways roads on both sides. The same is true in Iloilo. You can see Iloilo River, very clean, with promenade, even at night, where all the restaurants are located. Now, some of the medium-term solutions, setting up retarding basins along critical waterways and bridge crossings, and local ordinance requiring land developers to have their own rainwater detention tanks to avoid direct discharge of huge developments into the small drainage capacities of roadways. Hindi naman namin dinesign yung drainage sa kalye for big developers. The problem is big developers collect they have their own drainage inside the village and directly discharge into the street drainage system. That's not going to work. So you see all of the Cavite development throwing their drainage directly into the system, so you see Bacoor flooded because that's the lowest portion of Cavite. The PPP projects can be another project that will hold for bulk water supply, water treatment, and distribution for communities. In terms of detention tank, Charlie and I worked very hard to make sure that BGC does not get flooded. And I will show exactly what happened in BGC. Some long-term solutions. Sabo Dam or low dams upstream major river systems to regulate the flow. Simple lang naman yung tubig. Alam mo kung saan manggagaling, hold it there. Don't let it come down during a rainfall event. Hold it there, use it during the dry months for irrigation, regulate the flow based on the capacity of the waterways. It's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. It's just determining the right project. We have about 18 river basins in the country. Cagayan River, Agno River, Pampanga River, Bulacan River. We had completed master plans for all these major rivers. Unfortunately, after the Aquino administration, nobody else touched it. BBM now is restoring that, thankfully. Let me discuss and show some examples of water projects to address the flooding. Let me go to the other side and use this. Thank you. Yeah, it will be better. This is Halaur Multipurpose Project. This is funded by Korean Exim Bank. Supposed to be completed in 3.5 years, but because of right-of-way for irrigation, delayed. 5 years. It's going to be completed by next year. Keep in mind, the budget every year is 250 billion, flood control. This single project is costing the government 15 billion with overruns for 5 years, so only 3 billion a year, compared to 250 billion a year. What is the capacity of this multipurpose dam? Once completed, this will yield 28 cubic meters per second of water. That volume, just for scale, is the total amount that Maynila distributes for the half of Metro Manila. Iloilo and the adjoining 8 municipalities only need, out of the 28 CMS, 2 CMS. The rest goes to irrigation, hydropower, and recreational facilities. So how many Halaur dams can the government do every year with the 250 billion? Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot imagine why people miss this point. That's part of Halaur Dam. Okay, another interesting project, Madongan Dam. This is in Ilocos Norte, done at the start of Governor Aimee Marcos, started in 2008, finished sometime in 2011, 2012. When I showed this, people thought it was in Villa Escudero. Lumipat na. You have, this is actually a resort, floating restaurants. People can swim. No flooding downstream. Less than 1 billion when this was completed. Look at the floating restaurants. Every weekend, puno ito. We're very proud of this project. We did the same in Ilocos Norte. Okay? Another project, Bonifacio Global City. Charlie, we're very familiar with this. People keep asking, why is it that BGC does not flood? Ito yung sagot dun.
An area in Taguig remains flood-free despite the heavy rains, thanks to an effective anti-flooding structure. Government now eyes the same technology for other cities. Pinky Webb has details.
This is Burgos Circle in Bonifacio Global City, a garden paradise. But many do not know that underneath is a huge tank that can store water whenever there's a storm. When it rains, the water flows through drainage pipes, and when there's too much, they go to the tank.
Ang ginagawa nito, meron tayong mechanism sa ilalim ng BGC upang itong sobrang tubig ay mailagay muna natin sa loob nitong detention tank para ma-detain doon, para yung awas ng tubig ay katamtaman lamang upang mailabas ito dun sa mga creeks at pumunta ito sa Pasig River.
The tank can store water equivalent to 8 Olympic-sized pools. When the rain stops, the pumping station goes to work and pump the water out and into the Balisampan Creek and to the Pasig River. This is the reason it hardly floods in Bonifacio Global City and nearby areas like South Sembo and Pinagkaisahan. Public Works and Highway Secretary Rogelio Singson was among those who conceptualized the idea back in 1997. He now plans to set up similar tanks in flood-prone areas like Blumentritt, España, FEU, Mandaluyong Circle, and Araneta Avenue.
Instead of the water on top of the street, no, you actually put it into this water tunnel and pump it out at a time when the water bodies of water are already low. No? Hindi mo isasabay sa bagsak ng ulan.
Singson says there's money for the tanks, and Blumentritt could be the first to have one. The project is expected to last at least 8 months.
It's not expensive. Like the Fort Bonifacio model cost us close to 65 million one time.
Singson is also asking developers to build their own tanks to help solve the flood problem. Pinky Webb, ABS-CBN News.
So nothing new. No, it's not rocket science. The principle is the same. If not for the BGC, because it used to be a golf course with trees and retention. But instead, you put all of this drainage, you collected all that rainfall. Kung idiniretso namin sa Balisakan Creek, the junction of EDSA and Kalayaan is going to be not passable all the time. The same is the story underneath the Magallanes flyover. So this is what I'm saying. There are flood-prone areas, this same technology can be adopted so that you remove the unpassable portions during a rainfall event. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that the private sector can collaborate with government at the national level or at the LGU level to collectively advocate addressing our country's water crisis by advocating integrated water resources management program and river basin approach, please, not by political jurisdiction. It will not be solved by political jurisdiction. So that we can reduce flooding, improve farm productivity, minimize destruction on public and private structures, and reduce displacement of poor families that are affected by perennial flooding nationwide. In the case when we had to clear Pasig River of informal settlers, I told Pinoy, boss, kung hindi natin gagawin one time ito, we will continue to do this every rainfall event. Sila lang sila yung i-relocate mo. So, for us, DPWH, to be able to do the easement on both sides, we even gave them rental subsidy, 600 pesos a month. Lumipat na kayo, maghanap kayo ng uupahan while your relocation sites are being prepared so that I can finish this structure all at the same time. Hindi yun pasungki-sungki kung ano available. The structural integrity is going to be bad. So together with the late Secretary Dinky Soliman, we were able to relocate and give rental subsidy to the families so that all at the same time we were able to move them out and do what we had to do. So ladies and gentlemen, all I've presented are the principles of good governance and how to address our water crisis. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Secretary. I'd like to open the floor to the audience for some questions. Yes, Charlie.
So I'd like to acknowledge Fred Parunga because we were 3 SVPs in Bonifacio. So Fred took care of finance, made sure we had money. Babes took care of construction, and my job was to convince the board to give them the free leeway. So what Babes has not mentioned, which I think everybody should recognize, he did something almost impossible today. That Kalayaan flyover from India. Ask Babes how long it took for him to build that, considering that he had to get property. He didn't have the right of way. He had to build it before the MRT started. And Babes told me we need to get $1 billion to pay. And everybody in the consortium says, ₱1 billion too much. Now one building is 1 billion already in Bonifacio. But without that access, I tell you, we were supposed to go from Makati to Bonifacio at grade, right? That would have been impossible. So I think Babes deserves a round of applause. Nobody knows that he did that too.
Charlie, you remind me I had to talk to the Sobels because their driver was staying affected by that flyover. driver ni driver ni Jasa mismo.
Thank you. Any more questions, please?
Secretary Babes, Singson, thank you for that insightful talk. One of the things that I wanted to get your insights on is that, I visited Dagupan, Pangasinan, because my sister practices there. No? She's a medical doctor. And one of the things that really struck me was in the heart, the downtown area, the easement you were talking, zero. The road was even higher than the sidewalk of the businesses. So you don't need to be an engineer to know that when rain falls, it goes down all to the establishments. And it was sad to hear that what's driving it is really the political side favoring certain locations where people will move businesses there as opposed to the other. So in those situations, and probably some of the areas might not be part of your scope, how would you advocate certain LGUs to really follow all these short-term solutions? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that question. And that's why we said we have to be fair in terms of the right of way that will be affected. In that case, the road had to be raised because you remember there was severe flooding in Dagupan. No? So the roads had to be raised so that it would remain passable. And we warned the residents. This is not the proper national road right-of-way standard. We need more land so that we need to acquire your properties, no? So that you can relocate, buy properties, and replace whatever structure will be affected. Unfortunately, we warned them. This is what is going to happen. The street level will be higher than your second floor. You will end up getting easily flooded. No? Unfortunately, they decided to stay where they are. No? So that's the situation. The same happened in Pampanga. We had a strong argument there that going to Bataan, going to Pampanga, we needed the easements and the right-of-way. And the only way we could make those roads passable was to raise them above the sea level. No? So may iwan talaga yung properties around. So we were ready to pay in terms of being able to pay them based on market value and replacement value of the structures. But what can I do if people refuse? And if the LGUs don't help out? You know? But look at what happened in Bataan. Bataan is very, very wide. As you hit beyond Dinalupihan, ang lapad-lapad ng kalye, all of those 6x6 trailers coming from Bataan pass freely. Pero pagdating sa Pampanga, eto na. And that's why we had to do a bypass because otherwise, the town of Lubao will have sleepless nights because of the heavy trucks that come in and out. Now, when I joined MPTC, by the way, I'm a former MPTC president as of November 20. So I'm no longer connected with the Tollways Corporation. But having said that, we had to construct a bypass. Now, when I got to the MPTC, we decided to construct a Santo Tomas exit so that the big trucks coming from Bataan no longer have to get to choke into the San Fernando, but use a new connection to expressway, and this is the Santo Tomas interchange. So these are the things that I continue to advocate. Let's address the pain points of our customers because we, MPTC, we are in public service under a private entity. Don't forget that. We are given concessions as a public service.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, please.
Louis.
Hi, Secretary Babes. That's an interesting proposition that you mentioned earlier. The taking would entail compensation for, let's say, the peripheries which were displaced by the raising of the road. Because we have here in Makati, in Pasong Tamo, meters high, and then the floodwaters will go to the sides. So is that being observed right now that the establishments at the peripheries, those who will be bearing the brunt of floodwaters from the raised roadway will also be compensated?
That's correct. Those affected by the right-of-way and easements, they have to be compensated properly. And aside from that, there has to be proper size drainage. Now, I was fortunately or unfortunately for me, I've been asked also to give advice to the current administration, and I said we have to develop new standards because the climate change, the rainfall events, we used to measure based on, let's say, 100-year flat rainfall event. In other words, the strongest rain in the last 100 years or 50 years, it used to be 50-year rainfall event. We moved to 100. This time, it's no longer going to work. We are looking at 200, like the ones that happened in Bicol. What used to be 2 months, in one night, ibinagsak. So how can the drainage of the Bicol River Basin handle that? No way. So we have been advising DPWH to start upgrading the master plans of these river basins precisely to address. Now,
yeah. So that's a reconfiguration, the classic definition of taking for purposes of asking for just compensation. And my pañero Eric Yason would also know what the classic definition of just compensation for purposes of expropriation. So having displaced establishments also be entitled to some form of compensation.
Definitely.
That's a game changer, sir. Thank
now,
you.
It used to be, I had a quarrel with the Department of Finance. Sabi ng ganun sa akin ni Cesar Purisima, ang taas-taas ang ibabayad mo, Cesar. You have forgotten the local government tax. Okay? What happens is if you pay a higher amount to the landowner, that becomes the new zonal value. So now the LGUs are very happy because all of a sudden, all the properties that remain will now have to pay based on the latest zonal value. So they have a windfall revenue on taxes. So biglang natuwa yung mga LGUs because now they can collect higher because the latest zonal value is the latest amount that government paid. So hindi naman pwede yung gobyerno mataas, pagbabayad kayo sa gobyerno mababa. Okay? So the LGUs are so happy with that new right-of-way law because their revenues all of a sudden raised up. In fact, this is what happens in some jurisdictions because I own several hundred hectares. You want me to pay that amount on this strip of 30 meters. I'd rather donate than you pay me high and affects all of the rest that I will have to pay on my property. idodonate na lang nila. Yes,
Yeah,
Fred.
Raisa.
Ito si Fred.
Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for that very good presentation. My question is about the Pasig River. Could you tell us what the current situation is regarding the redevelopment of the Pasig River to improve the garbage that is being dumped there and the waterway from Laguna to Manila Bay? Thank you.
The master plan for Pasig River, we started, if you recall, we started putting river walls and clearing the easement starting from the mouth. You always start from the mouth. No? You start from the mouth, that means opening at Manila Bay, moving upwards. What was not implemented was a detention or a retarding dam somewhere in San Mateo, upstream of Pasig River and Marikina River, so that the rainfall that comes from the mountains, yung upland, will not fall all at the same time because the carrying capacity of Pasig and Marikina is limited. But we were able to do the easement on both sides of Pasig River. And that's why you even see, as you come out of Fort Bonifacio Bridge, that one that connects to Capitolio, you see the linear park of Makati. There was none before. No? They should continue doing that and continue dredging because precisely of the garbage, which to me is a local responsibility. No? The problem is DPW's put pumping stations. Unfortunately, at a rainfall event and you need to run the pumping stations, first 2 hours, puros basura ang hihigupin. So by the time you finish cleaning up your pumping station, nag-overflow na. The one in Libertad, the same story. All of the pumping stations, for your information, they were all taken over by MMDA from DPWH. To me, that was a wrong move. They don't have the many engineers that DPWH has. Sometimes, because we stay in Magallanes, we are dependent on the timing of the Libertad pumping station working. Pag na-delay yon, the whole of Maricaban and the whole of the Villamor portion will not run. The water coming from South Superhighway will not come out into Maricaban Creek because the pumping station was not working properly because of garbage, because of minsan nauubusan ng krudo. Usually, when there's a rainfall event, nagkakaroon ng brownout. No? So they are supposed to run on generators. Kaya lang, walang krudo. Sad.
Okay.
Oo nga. Raisa.
Yeah. Hi, Raisa Echadova Posadas. Yeah. So my background is in banking and specifically in infrastructure financing. No? So I was just very curious in terms of like how do you uphold the sanctity of the competitive bidding when you've got financing coming from JBIC or Korea XM or the Chinese agencies. No? So how do you balance that? They're providing funding at the same time. They have to be competitive.
Okay. The way I measured that, if the private sector, if that project can be absorbed by the private sector on a purely PPP project, I push it as a PPP project. Because there are certain projects like the Halaur Dam. No? This has to use ODA. No? Because the revenues here is only on the 2 CMS. Yun lang ang mababayaran eh. The rest, irrigation is free. Hydropower, baka meron, but that's not even sure depending on how NIA runs and utilizes the water. No? So there are projects that are best done by PPP, and whatever can be done on PPP, I push it at PPP. No? But there are certain projects that need concessional financing and ODA. But let me tell you, when we did SETEX, no, Subic Clark Tarlac, I started that as JICA funded. But even before we completed that, we said we have to privatize it. So we bidded it out. No? Now, the revenue of government, PCBA in particular, is more than enough to pay for the JICA loan. So you have to balance. You have to determine the viability first before you decide whether ODA or
Secretary Singson, I just want to ask, how does our cost of water compare to the other ASEAN countries? I think we're one of the highest per cubic meter.
That's unfortunate because you can imagine Singapore. Nag-iipon sila, they put up the gorge precisely to collect rainfall. We don't need to do that. We just need to impound that water upstream. Now, in terms of rate, I agree because of the inefficiencies precisely. To me, the government should do the water impounding. That should not be a private sector fund. The private sector can do best in water treatment and distribution. There is money there. But unfortunately, like Maynila, no? Manila Water, when I was with Maynila, we had to advance the money for Kaliwatan. And up to now, it's not operational. We had to contribute 1 billion. And of course, that's out of our money. We have to recover that. So it goes to your water bill.
You know?
The big water impounding is the role of government. And I was able to convince BBM that that should be the case. Gamitin yang 250 billion na yan for water impounding upstream.
Right.
I tried doing that in Bulacan. I met with the legislators of Bulacan. They all agreed, we want water impounding. Okay, I told them, we can immediately do this project, water impounding, if you allow me to touch 10% of the flood control budget. Nag-away na kami. They refused.
Okay.
Even only 10% of that budget to be touched. So you now know why.
Yeah. Another question is that you mentioned about plastic waste, okay? And one of the big input is the plastic bottle. But for the two concessionaires, I think the mandate from the two is that the water coming out of the two concessionaires must be potable, must be drinkable. I used to remember when we were younger, just drink water from the tap. But nowadays, nobody does that, no? I mean, is there a possibility that this is implemented so that we don't have to drink water out of the bottle and save all those plastic bottle wastes?
No, the standard of MWSS is potable at the tap. Okay? Unfortunately, many of the pipes which are internal are rusted. No? Magallanes lang, we've been staying there for more than 30 years. Often the faucet at the upper, medyo murky, first flow, because of the corrosion on our own pipes. And that's why we have been advocating PVCs instead of steel pipes or metal pipes.
You know, talking about that, Secretary Babes, I noticed that if a tap is not used for some time, then you turn it on. Yan, yung kalawang lumalabas, no? But after a while, it disappears. Because some of the pipes, I know they're not clean, but they have already this calcified, no? And having that, I don't think that would affect too much. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just saying, yung kalawang talagang you can see, no? But after for a while, then the water sort of comes clean. Is that potable? I mean, it's not potable yet.
It has to be tested at the top.
rather than kasi MWSS will only test outside your house. Inside your house, you can actually call your water supplier. They should be able to test.
Okay, that'd be good. Because we can save a lot of bottled water.
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Secretary.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, if no more questions, I'd like to invite President Keith and President Eric for the response to Secretary Babes.
I will go first. So thank you very much for a most interesting talk. Please, I would like another round of applause for our speaker this evening. We've learned quite a lot this evening. We've learned about easements, rights. We've learned about 60-meter wide roads, dual carriageways, no wooden bridges. Right time, right people. 25% retired early, which I guess is most of the people in this room. So, no political recommendations on appointments, rule of law bidding, robust rights of way based on replacement value and market value. I guess these are all principles which don't just apply to the department that you run, they apply to the whole of government. And thank you for reminding us of them. I hope they also remind us of the principles of Rotarian principles. Cash budget, you reminded us of that. Budget of 250 billion, 30% of the dredging is for the work of the backhoe, and 70% is for the dredging of those who appoint the backhoe driver. We saw some spectacular projects, which I'm sure you're rightly proud of, and thank you for sharing with us the possibility. So I'd like to, before passing over to Eric, thank you again for a very enjoyable speech. We're going to pass out. Are we going to do that now? Can do. Okay, so I'm good. So we have a gift here, or a token for you here. This is a replica of a plaque. We have a project which is to do reef buds in Ilocos Sur and also down in Batangas. And when we do these reef buds, we put little plaques on the top with the names of the people who donate them. And we will be donating one in your honor next time we go planting reef buds to rejuvenate the plants. So, do you know Navakan? Yes. You go swimming around there, you look down about 30 meters, you'll see your name maybe when we plant next. But we're very pleased to do that, and thank you very much for that. This is our 55 years history of our club, and this is probably a very required bottle of wine to drink whilst you're reading this book. And with that, before I pass over to Eric, I have a very important question for you. Are you free to join the Dragonstone dance team? Because I could see that Louis needs you on your team. Actually, I'm on the same team, but we need you, okay? Be there on the 5th of December. But thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Sorry, the 4th. Oh, the 5th, the 4th. It's another party on the 5th.
Thank you very much, Secretary Singson. At the time when we are bombarded with news about corruption and use or misuse of confidential funds, it's refreshing to be reminded that there was a time that government worked and clean government worked. Today, when I was listening to you, I always thought that it was always only an engineering solution that solved public works problems. But I learned that being a lawyer, there are also legal solutions, like the expropriation, use of use of right of way, paying reasonable compensation to those who are being expropriated, and the enforcement of easements by local government. So it's enlightening to know that the past and future projects of the government, and that because of good governance and political will, we can solve these problems. Thank you again, Mr. Secretary Babe Singson, and we'd like to present to you a certificate. We planted this morning a mangrove seedling. Yeah, I think we have a picture there.
This is exactly the reason why after 30 years of being in this,
Yeah.
zero
That's you.
because
We planted this morning a seedling from mangrove in Lobo, Batangas, in a mangrove forest, which yes, it's in the bird. Yes, we adopted the barangay there, which takes care of the mangrove forest too. So we're presenting the certificate to you, Mr. Jason.
Thank you very much.